I'm Ashton Addison from EventChain for Investment Pitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Eben Matthews, the co-founder of Macroverse. Eben, welcome to the show, and thank you for taking the time to be here today.
Thanks so much, Ashton. I am excited to be here and talk to you.
Likewise, I'm really excited to dive into the NFT initiatives and other initiatives that you have. Your team's really working on a bunch of different solutions for the blockchain space. I would love it if you could just kick it off for us with a high-level overview and the focus of Macroverse.
Absolutely. So Makerverse is a company that we started about 2 years ago. We actually started as a next generation digital comics platform. And then we bumped into NFT world, like so much of the other people that have become excited about this space in January. I've had some exposure to kind of blockchain and a little bit of the kind of crypto art scene prior to that. But when we really started to understand what the potential and the implications of this technology for basically every industry, after a couple months of exploding heads, we decided this is the future of basically everything, and we need to be a part of it. And we've, I wouldn't say pivoted, but we've certainly shifted focus. So we're very excited about kind of taking blockchain and NFTs and all the things that can enable us to do and applying it to comics, to storytelling, to entertainment, and much, 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 much more. So that's where Macroverse is now focused.
Definitely. And I've seen a bunch of other platforms that are, they were focused on something sort of niche. And I think comics is really niche, and I want to touch on that. And then once you realize the potential of NFTs as it exploded throughout the last 12, 16 months, all of a sudden you realize, hey, this is actually something that is super unique, which is a total added value for NFTs. And I'm curious, on the comics side, can you talk a little bit about the background and how you were working with comics? Is your team experienced in that, or where did that inspiration come from?
Yeah, so super, super experienced and very personal for me. So, I learned to read from comics when I was a little kid. I've been collecting comics my entire life. I thought I was going to be a professional comics artist. So that was my kind of initial career track. So I did go to art school for illustration and came out and ended up doing a bunch of other stuff in the creative media world. But comics have always been near and dear to my heart. And we produced a Boondock Saints graphic novel in the kind of traditional print side of the comics industry. And we came out of that really feeling like there was an opportunity to reinvent comics for the next generation, for digital. And so that's where we started Macroverse from, was kind of looking at what was the place in the market and the comics world that we could really make an impact, empower creators, help people tell stories, including ourselves. We're also storytellers. And so we built the first version of the platform with that in mind. And at this point, we've got over 100 creators that we're working with. We've launched over 45 series over the past year. We're closing in on about 1,000 episodes of content, either already released or in production. And this new element of NFTs and all the things that it enables just takes something that's been inherent to comics from day one, certainly an inherent part of my experience, which is the collectability component of it, and now allows us to bring that to digital comics. And to me, that is super exciting.
It is very exciting, and I'm excited to dive into some of those comics as well. And combining it with NFTs, providing a unique solution. There are a lot of NFT marketplaces that are already live, and I haven't seen a lot to do with comics. But was there a friction or a gap in the market that you saw? Was it really the type of content, whether it be comics and these other niches that you have, or another friction that you're really trying to position yourself to have that competitive advantage, like in the NFT space overall?
Yeah, so it's two-sided. I mean, what we're building has two main components to it. The comics piece, which will be the first truly collectible digital comics that have come to exist at this point. And the main thing that we saw there, which we already kind of had a couple steps down the road on in what we were working on before, is the ability to really consume an NFT as a single experience as opposed to a single image. So, when we think about a multi-page document, there's no good solution for that as an NFT. So, if you were to think about comics, you've got 20 to 100 to, however many pages in an individual story. You would have to take each of those and put them on a marketplace somewhere, and then someone would have to go and collect each and every single page, and then those end up in a wallet. And how do you read it? How do you collate it? Like, how do you get this story? It's not a good experience. So we figured out a way with our team to sell an NFT that is actually that full experience of the comic, and to give a actually better experience than we think our competitors do in the non-NFT world, as a consumer, as a reader of this material. So that part's really exciting. And then the other thing that we're really focused on with our platform is we had always had a lot of ideas around how to really bring creators to the forefront and really celebrate the creators that make this great content. And so being able to kind of bring a new NFT platform to the creators that's really focused on storytelling. So less about the kind of fine art world and really more about comics creators and storyboard artists and concept artists and people that do character design and animators and people that are kind of in the world of making the content that we love on a day-to-day basis. So that's our focus for our platform, is really a home for storytellers, and then helping those people tell those stories first in comics and then in other media as well.
Definitely. And you're right. I've seen pictures and animated GIFs, but I really haven't seen a full storybook or a book as an NFT, or never mind a comic. So that's definitely a unique competitive advantage, to be able to put a whole story into an NFT. And working with these creators, some of them likely not well versed in blockchain as well, and the intricacies behind putting these comics on the blockchain is obviously going to have a huge advantage. And you did mention that you've already worked with 100 plus different creators and brands. Maybe you can talk about some of those major partnerships that you made. And you mentioned you've already produced a lot of content.
We have. So we have a bunch of series that we're really proud of, and then we've got some new ones, and I'll highlight a couple that I'm really excited about, because our first drops of these collectible comics will be in July. And there's a couple of series that are in these first couple of batches. One is from the creator of a comic series called Bitter Root. So comics fans will definitely know that. It's an Eisner Award winner, which is the Oscar of the comics industry. And it's also just been announced as a film adaptation with Legendary Pictures. David F. Walker is the creator of this new series. He also created a character called Naomi for DC, which is about to be a CW TV show as well. So we've got a new series with him. And then in our second batch of launches, we're working with the showrunner and producer of both Portlandia and Harmon Quest. And we're doing a brand new series of his that will launch as this NFT comic product. And then we've got a bunch more, but those are a couple that I'm announcing kind of actually here first. So
amazing.
Those will be coming out in very short order. And then we've got another 10 or 12 titles in these first drops, and really the whole rest of the year scheduled out with some really exciting creators, really exciting projects, as well as other collaborations that we can't announce yet, but kind of all over the media landscape. We've got some really exciting things coming down the pipe.
Very cool, Eben, and I'm excited for that launch in July of 2021 here. And from what I understand, there with Macroverse, the Makerverse platform, and it has a lot of other functionalities besides just being able to look at these NFTs. With the coming Launchpad, marketplaces, NFT creation. Can you give a little explanation for those readers of comics and the creators on how that works when you go to the platform and those different functionalities?
Absolutely. So the Makerverse part of it is the creator platform, the creator marketplace. But we're building a few things which I think bring a little extra spin to kind of what we've seen so far. So it's really about creating this ecosystem for creators and the content that they make. And so whether that's comics or, again, someone that's doing a bunch of concept art that suggests a story or a world, whatever medium the creator works in, we do have this kind of storytelling focus. But we're doing some things that allow creators to interact with their fans and with their collectors a little more like a Kickstarter, like a Patreon, so that, we have ways of kind of getting real engagement, ongoing engagement between those creators and their collectors and fans, more than just kind of a single transaction. So it's almost like an NFT platform with a little bit of social, with, some of these other kind of engagement tools that we've seen pop up in different places that work really well. And then you bring all that together under the umbrella of larger narratives and story and different types of experiences that we can deliver inside of our apps. And that starts to get really interesting and exciting. So it's kind of the sky's the limit as it comes to people being able to come and not just drop a piece of digital art, but really build something that could turn into a franchise or could turn into something much bigger beyond that kind of initial thing.
Definitely, Evan, and I hear it all the time where, there's so many artists just in their bedrooms creating content and they're trying to monetize it and get out of that starving artist mentality. And so how focused on the platform were you when you realized, the potential for all these different types of artists to create this art in terms of driving cash flows to them and being able to get, revenues from their customers more directly using these technologies?
I mean, dude, that is that is one of the things I'm the most excited about because, as people that have created a bunch of content in a bunch of different mediums over the course of our careers, and myself and my co-founders, we probably made something in just about any entertainment medium that you can name. And having been on the Hollywood accounting side of things, or, are these metrics really the real metrics, from partners or customers over the years? It's so exciting to think about, bringing a team together to create something like that, having this, kind of smart contract layer where we can come in from the beginning and say, here are these 5 people and you get this much and you get this much and you get this much. And here's the residuals forever in secondary market sales. And then no one ever has to think about it again. That is so thrilling to me, the instantaneous transaction of being able to, just put something together, generate revenue from it, have a long tail with residuals and royalties, which is something people in entertainment often either don't get or, don't feel like they get as much as they should have in some cases. So having that just all set up to begin with is super exciting. And I think it just gives a whole new layer to people's ability to make something together or by themselves and then really reap the rewards of that forever. Super cool.
Definitely. Smart contracts are a beautiful thing, and I'm really excited to see that play out into fruition. And that sort of leads me to asking about the Macroverse token and the ecosystem. I know that there is a cryptocurrency as well involved in the platform. Can you talk about the Macroverse token, how that works with the creators and the users, and does it create a sustainable ecosystem for all the participants?
Yeah, we're very excited about the token. Spoiler alert, we haven't mentioned the token anywhere before today, so we're excited to have that exclusive reveal here as well. The token does a couple of things which we think are really cool. One is it does function as an in-app currency, so it is something that you can actually use to purchase within our own ecosystem. But the other thing that I think is the most exciting is that we really feel strongly that the main purpose of the token is to reward the community for their participation in the economy of the entire platform. And that's one of the concepts in crypto and, kind of DeFi that I just have fallen in love with, which is that the people that create the most value reap the most rewards. And so being able to reward our creators and our collectors and our fans, both in the short term in their participation in the ecosystem, but also in a way that I've come to think of it over time that, the people that really provide the most value and that reap those rewards essentially become our partners. They kind of become, shareholders in the growth of the company, and they really get incentivized to see us succeed in a, grander and grander way. So I think it's a very cool way to kind of bring something to the platform and to the community where you really feel like you have a piece of this thing that you're participating in. My co-founder, I kind of love this. And my co-founder, coined this phrase. He said, we currently in social media kind of live in this attention economy where it's trading our attention for, something that maybe we're getting from social media. And what this allows us to do is kind of shift our focus to a participation economy where you really are rewarding people for their activity as opposed to just, give me some time and, here, scroll. So I think there's a lot of exciting things that we've got planned for the token and how it works on the platform, all the different things you can do with it. But fundamentally, that concept of reward in exchange for participation and having that grow over time for everyone involved, I think is incredibly meaningful for everyone that participates, for everyone that gets involved.
I agree, Eben. Participation is key. And for the viewers that are looking to get into participating when the platform launches, maybe you can give a snapshot of, the launch is upcoming soon. What are the next steps when that launch happens, and how can people get involved at that point? Yeah,
so our website is Makerverse.com. And there are 2 things you can do on the website right now. One is to register as a creator for early access to the platform. And then the other is to register interest as a collector or a fan. And there'll be a couple of incentives for people that take advantage of that. So for creators who register their interest, we'll start to onboard people at some point this month in June. For collectors and fans, you'll get early access to some of the very first drops and maybe a couple other rewards and bonuses for kind of being first through the door. And then from there, we launch in July with our first set of comic projects. And then basically every week, we've got something cool planned as additional material that comes from there. So we've got a full roadmap for the rest of the year. We've got an incredible batch of content with an incredible group of creators and a lot more features that will be rolling out on the platform. So it's a great time to kind of go for a fun ride starting very, very soon.
Very, very exciting, Eben. Thank you for those details, and I will leave the Makerverse links in the description box below. I'm really excited for the launch in July. All the best with that. I will be watching as well, and let's follow up in the near future.
Absolutely. Ashton, thank you so much. Appreciate it.